A lot has transpired this week, but Ubisoft's Forward was one of the main attractions. Stay tuned right here and I will be talking about all of that in this week's gaming news. Hey, what is happening guys? This is Orca from Orca's Gaming Corner and welcome to another week of gaming news. Ubisoft yesterday held their first games reveal show called the Ubisoft Forward, which is, I guess, their own way of doing a game show that shows what games to expect this year and in the immediate future. So, let's start with Ubisoft's leading franchise. Yes, I'm talking about Assassin's Creed franchise. The latest iteration in the Assassin's Creed franchise is the Assassin's Creed Valhalla. It comes packed with gory, brutal combat, which I know a lot of you guys love, and some beautiful places and vistas to discover. I'll start with the good stuff and then talk about some of the not so good stuff. The massive open world of AC Valhalla is a true sight to behold, and it feels like a paradise brought back from time. It is just stunningly enchanting to look at, with lush vegetation and beautiful landscapes, and maybe we will be treated with a bit of snow as the season changes. The AC franchise has created some of the best looking games of the past decade, and Assassin's Creed Valhalla is no slouch. The game world is simply great to look at even at 1080p, so I have no complaints there. Now, as far as the gameplay is concerned, combat seems to have gone through a huge change from Odyssey, and whether that is good or bad, I cannot comment on that, as I have not got a chance to play the game, but it looks kick-ass with all the gore and the new moves. I genuinely feel that the exploration will be great, as it is a new world and a new map, even though nothing seems to have changed significantly from Odyssey in that field. Now let's talk about the things that I felt were not so great. Firstly, the characters look terrible in close-up shots, especially when they are delivering dialogue. The facial animation is horrible. It makes the game look like it released somewhere in 2013. The sound, the lip sync, none of that clicked for me. That is exactly my gripe on the graphics and presentation department, because after seeing the animation on Red Dead Redemption 2 and The Last of Us 2, I simply cannot accept a big budget game with such a poor presentation. Next, we know that the combat looks cool and great. However, if you look carefully, it looks a bit clunky, and from what I have heard from the people who have played a bit of the game, it feels clunky and the hit registration in melee combat is not at all good. The overall gameplay is also very similar to AC Odyssey, and I am sure there is level gating, and that is a real downer for me personally. So if you loved Odyssey, this is the game for you. If not, then you will not like it very much. On a side note on similarities, the world of Assassin's Creed Valhalla also looks very similar to The Witcher 3 The Wild Hunt. Whether that will be a good thing or not, we will just have to wait and see. Lastly, we know for a fact that Ubisoft's writing is pretty poor, and from the looks of it, I don't think that will change at all. Okay, on to the next game, Watchdogs Legion. Well, Watch Dogs has always been an underdog franchise in the Ubisoft lineup, and hopefully Watch Dogs Legion breaks that mold for us. The game looks exquisite with all the ray tracing and seems ready for the next gen consoles and the high-end RTX PCs. On top of that, it's also a vast open world game, only this time in London in the future, unlike AC Valhalla, which was England from the past. The game has extremely ambitious and lofty goals. For example, you can play with any NPC in the game. How cool is that, right? The NPCs will have different unique abilities which you can use to do some really wacky and cool stuff, and also complete different missions and quests. Your character can also hack tech things and gadgets, cars, drones, and even people, as long as they're in some way connected to the technology. It looks cool and it all sounds good, but I hope the execution is on point, or else it will turn out to be another massive failure like Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Also on that note, Ghost Recon Breakpoint's AI partner update is finally releasing on the 15th of July. Breakpoint at release was a broken mess and I had participated in the open beta and it was terrible and would not work most of the time. Hopefully it's improved now and this update after almost a year will make the game whole again. The last game that Ubisoft showed was more like a trailer. It was the game Far Cry 6 and oh my god, another liberation game. It's like Ubisoft has this factory for Far Cry games, so they keep on doing the same thing again and again. I just don't want to comment on this at this point, so let's move on to other things. Oh yes, there was one more game called Hyperspace, and that is a battle royale that Ubisoft has created, and the open beta currently is going on for PC players, I believe. And the download is just around 8 to 9 GB, so anyone can just hop in and play it. It looks a bit similar to Fortnite, however it has a lot of different things too, but the graphical aspect and how it looks, I felt it was kind of cartoony. And anyways, battle royale is not my cup of tea, but I'll still give it a go if you guys want to listen to that. So that is about it for the Ubisoft Forward, and I have one more news update for you guys before we come to the end of this video. Sony just invested $250 million on Epic. It is around 1% of Epic's total value, which is I guess $18 billion or something like that. So now Sony and Epic have started a partnership which will, I think, benefit Sony a lot, as their number one selection for a third-party engine will probably be Unreal Engine 5, and it also means that third-party titles will work well on the PS5 because Unreal is one of the most famous game engines in the gaming industry, and Sony definitely wants that best compatibility between the PS5 and the Unreal Engine. Well, that about does it for this week's gaming news, and I'll see you next week with some more gaming news. If you like what I do, please like, share and subscribe to my channel, and have a good day.